Thanks for staying tuned, and welcome to another edition of the HGP Sport for December 17th. I am Stanford Howard. Thanks for joining us. In cricket, can the West Indies make it 2 wins from as many matches? Well, that will be decided on Wednesday when the two sides meet for the second of three 50-over games. India chalked up 287 in the first game. In reply, a well-calculated and executed chase by the Maroon side saw them reaching their target by 8 wickets and 13 balls to spare. First ball is set for 4 hours Guyana time. Turning our attention to some boxing news. 4 local boxers will have a chance to prepare in Cuba before the Olympic qualifiers as the National Sports Commission on Tuesday handed over a sum of money to the Guyana Amateur Boxing Association. Here's that report. 4 of the young talented boxers will have a 3-month stint in Cuba from the end of December when they go into preparation mode for the qualifying rounds in Argentina in March for the Olympics in 2020. The 4 boxers will be taking part in the training camp are none other than Kevin Allicock, Desmond Amsterdam, Dennis Thomas, and Colin Lewis. The cost for the encampment is roughly about $30,000, with the NSC pitching in $2.5 million Guyana dollars, along with the Guyana Olympic Association. President of the GBA, Stephen Ninval, reiterated that since 1996, Guyana hasn't seen any representation for boxing or qualifying for the Summer Games.
This we plan to change, and we understand that the importance of having a well-prepared team if we are to get anywhere near a medal. To this side, the government of Guyana has come on board.
Ninval stated that previously the association would have just about 2 weeks to prepare for such an uphill task, but he's grateful that the government sees it fit to give the boxers the 3-month stint. Technical Director Terence Poole noted that in order to get results in any sport, investment is important, and such he is satisfied with government's effort to have a well-prepared team going into the qualifiers. The technical director also clarified that there have been a change in the Olympic boxing style.
One of the 10 weight category that we normally have, we have 8. So you find Allicock now will not fight at the bantamweight, he would fight at the featherweight.
Either feather or flat.
At 57 kgs, and Colin Lewis with boxing at 63 kilograms, which would be the lightweight. So it won't be junior welter and bantamweight anymore. So
Director of Sports Christopher Jones alluded to the fact that Guyana stands its best chance of any Olympic medal through boxing.
Cognizant of the fact, and as well as mentioned, and we recognize this as being truth, that you cannot have the boxers or any sport discipline, the athletes only prepare 2 weeks, 3 weeks before. They need to be in camp for at least a period of about 3 months, thereabout. Having the opportunity to have our boxers prepared in Cuba, we see it as most fitting, and that is why the government, with the support of the National Sports Commission, reached out to Mr. Ninval and the Boxing Association and indicated that we want to ensure that the boxers have every opportunity to prepare for this tournament.
Guyana's first ever medal in the Olympics came through the sport of boxing in the 1980 Summer Games in Moscow through bantamweight fighter Michael Anthony. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard. Turning our attention to the KFC Goodwill Tournament, a turn of the tables as Day 2 witnessed Ramadan Trungsing Lodge and Shiva Boys out of Trinidad upsetting Anai at the Providence Training Center. Hear more in this report. The action is heating up in the school's football KFC Goodwill Tournament. On Monday, the football scene was up and running once more. Opening round winner Lodge suffered defeat when they battled with Ramadan Secondary. Ovid Andrew got the ball rolling deep down in the first half in the 32nd minute to open up the game. Following up a few minutes later in the 35th minute, Paul Whittaker lengthened the lead to 2-0 to close off the first half. With the resumption of the second half, Darwin George struck one for Lodge in the 53rd minute to give them some hope of pulling the game closer. But Andrews had plans when he netted his second goal to finish off the game with a 3-1 win over Lodge. While in the second game, Shiva Boys out of the Twin Island Republic did a number on Anai Secondary when they pulled out a 3-0 thumping. Those goals came off the boot of Alice Ash from Shiva Boys, who scored in the first half in the 23rd minute. while completing his hat-trick in the second half in the 66th and the 89th minutes for the win. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard. And in volleyball news, the Guyana Volleyball Federation has shortlisted a contingent to represent the country at the February 2020 Inter-Guyana Games. Jaden Samuels explains.
A tough year continues for the sport of volleyball, but local male and female players will be attempting to up their game as they prepare to travel to French Guiana next year to do battle. Operating under the leadership of President Levi Ned, training for the under-21 players was held at the National Gymnasium to shortlist the two squads. Terence Grenhart, Andre Jaganan, Noel Holder, Christoph Shepard, Helen Singh, Damian Al-Ahmad, Kellon Leach, Daniel Joseph, Stefan Nora, Therese Fairley, Levi Ned Jr., Ronaldo Bob, Jalil Roberts, Tyrone Fairley, Lucas Bramell, Andy Ruhaman, and Montel Denny comprises the male squad. For the ladies, Shamaria David, Famke David, Cassie Jr., Kelly Gorick, Marissa Ramnort, Cherry Ann Fraser, Daniel France, Amisha Mohabir, Latoya Drakes, Hannah Hicks, Renelle Payne, Devont Hernandez, Alia Mohabir, Crystal Paddy, and Philanda Simpson. Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
And finally, in swimming, local swimmers ended the 2019 Amateur Swimming Association of Trinidad and Tobago Invitational Meet in 5th place, ahead of 23 competing teams. Here are the details.
Turning our attention to some swimming, some 400 swimmers attached to swim clubs from 6 countries were looking to better their personal bests ahead of the next Carifta Games, but local swimmers are among the few that have acquired the Carifta timings. Guyana saved the best for the last day of the championships, with Elliot Gonzalez, Vladimir Woodruff, and Monique Watson all cupping medals on the same day. In the boys 11 to 12 category 400-meter individual medley, Elliot Gonzalez took honors as a bronze medalist, whilst Stephen Ramkelwan in the boys 13 to 14 400-meter also secured bronze, and Rekwan Noel in the boys 13 to 14 400-meter individual medley copped the gold. In the boys 11 to 12 200-meter freestyles, silver went to Elliot Gonzalez, and in the girls 11 to 12 200 backstroke, Monique Watson won silver. Turning our attention to the boys 15 and over 200-meter freestyle, Daniel Scott captured bronze, and boys 11 to 12 50-meter breaststroke, Elliot Gonzalez among the medals, again copping silver this time, while Vladimir Woodruff in the boys 11 to 12 200 backstroke copped gold. Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
That concludes our Sportscast. I'm Stanford Howard, but do remember, there are many people that have more talent than you, but there is no excuse for anyone to work harder than you do. Goodbye. Over to you, Javon.